What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm also going to talk about why next week is going to be very important as we have huge news coming out that could cause some high volatility. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. So we have this resistance at 450, which is where Tesla's getting these rejections. But near the 420 mark, we do like to see a lot of bounces. Although Tesla might dip a bit more, we're going to be looking to see if this could bounce again once we come back down closer to 425 or so. And then even if that's the case, this is either going to be a much larger accumulation. As long as you hold 420, we're looking for a big bounce back up. Or if we lose these lows, there is still that gap around 397. Overall, Tesla's been trading sideways for the past month. As you know, October is not the strongest of months for Tesla, but November and December tend to be a lot better. And if this continues to consolidate, we could still see a bigger bounce. So, what's going on with Tesla? The reason why Tesla was weak is because the NHTSA opened a probe as it's seeking information from Tesla about the new driver assistance mode known as Mad Max. Once again, it tends to move at higher speeds based off what Tesla has told us. That's what Tesla has told us, and also based off what different users have reported. So that is what's going on so far as part of why Tesla's been kind of weak. But heading into next week, there's going to be a lot of different catalysts really affecting us. So, CPI came out. The numbers were basically very close to expectations, with CPI around that 3% mark, and core coming down a little bit. So that's not too bad. That is part of the reason why the market ended up seeing a very, very big bounce, but Tesla was not able to keep up due to its negative news. However, next week is going to be massive because, first off, okay, the first thing I want to let everyone know is that there isn't much coming out for Monday, just bill auctions. Tuesday, we have the Richmond Fed data. That might cause a little bit of volatility, but it's not that crazy. But Wednesday, when it comes to our data, Wednesday is going to be crazy because we have the Fed interest rate decision and FOMC. FOMC is coming out for Wednesday. Expect some high volatility. Get ready for that, guys. I do expect a very, very big move. There's currently almost a 97% chance the Fed gives us a 25 basis point cut. That could cause very, very high volatility, especially when the big guy, Jerome Powell, starts speaking. So get ready for that. We have FOMC. Secondly, we also have this news right over here. We have big tech earnings starting next week. On Monday, it's going to be more quiet, but on Tuesday, we have SoFi and PayPal announcing their earnings. On Wednesday, we have Verizon and Boeing, not to mention Meta, Microsoft, and Alphabet after market close on Wednesday. And then for Thursday, we have Amazon, Apple, and Coinbase also announcing their earnings. So be ready for that. That's going to also cause some high volatility. That's going to be very important for how we end up moving. So keep that in mind. We have FOMC and big tech earnings. Now, on top of this, there's been some big news that came out that President Trump and Xi Jinping have agreed to meet on October 30th. The White House press secretary has said that. That is huge news. President Trump did mention previously that he wants to impose a 100% tariff on China, and then he started saying 155% is what he was looking at. He said that that would likely be the case unless we ended up seeing China and the US coming up with some sort of deal. So keep that in mind. That's very important news. So this is going to be very, very major for the stock market because whatever we hear, at least from President Trump and Xi Jinping, will likely cause some big volatility for the markets. And I think that that's going to be very important as well. But if there's some kind of big deal that comes out, that's going to cause a lot of volatility as well. So President Trump and Xi Jinping should be meeting up next week on, I believe it's going to be on October 30th. Very, very big news. We'll see what that leads to if there's some kind of deal or not. So that's a lot of stuff coming out, guys. We have, FOMC, we have big tech earnings, we have President Trump and Xi Jinping meeting. All of that's going to cause a lot of volatility, in my opinion. So be ready for a crazy week. Tesla's currently in a range, like I said before. In this case, we kind of like pushed near 450, went a little bit higher. Then we dumped to like 402. We bounced up towards 440, came down. 450 back down to the 415 area, back to 450, back down. So we're just kind of doing this. I think Tesla continues to trade sideways for now for the week. But then as time goes on, we're going to see if we come back down to try to fill the gap below. If not, if we continue to trade sideways, then we head into November. There is a chance Tesla could try to reaccumulate and start to continue this bounce for a much larger inverse head and shoulders. And this could eventually start to rally for $500 by the end of the year. Now, For now, we're not going to worry about 500. We have to take it one step at a time. So we're looking for this dip towards 420. Then we'll see if Tesla bounces off that. It might bounce near 420. So I see some more downside than a bounce likely coming. Another reason why I said there could be some downside is because even if the market pops a bit, there are still some gaps to fill. So SPY might return to like 672 to fill this gap. I'd like to see that gap get filled. And then we're going to likely continue to rally for new highs for the end of the year. If we do get lucky, and if there's another big dip that comes towards like the 660s or 650s, it's going to be a very, very good buying opportunity in case that happens, because I do see us running towards 700 by the year end. And it's possible the low is already in. We're going to see if we get another dip or not. I do think we dip to at least 672 to fill that gap very soon. Maybe we go lower depending on FOMC. We'll see about that. But then ultimately, it's nothing more than a buying opportunity, and a big squeeze is going to be coming for the year end. Same thing with the QQQ now, because we also invalidated the left shoulder, head, and right shoulder that was forming. We've invalidated the head and shoulders because we ended up breaking structure. So now the market is leaning more bullish. Now we could still come down to fill this gap. It's still possible we retest like the 610s on the QQQ. If we get a bigger dip, that's going to be another buying opportunity. But then, like I said before, we're going to likely continue to rally. Every time we dip, we just get bought back up, and we're looking for new all-time highs for November and December. For the IWM, we're also in a consolidation. We're favoring upside for essentially the 250s. On ES, we're looking more bullish as well. I think that we're looking like we want to break out higher. We might come down to about 6,800 to 6,780. Then we could be looking for a big breakout to new highs. On NQ, we're going to be watching to see what happens. We could retest 25,400 or even 25,250. Then we're going to be looking to see if we get a massive bounce after that. On Bitcoin, we're also forming a nice inverse head and shoulders accumulation. We could be looking for an attempt for essentially 113,000. We'll see what happens after that. So keep that in mind. On Tesla, although we're range bound, although we could be dipping to like 425 to 420, we could be looking for a very, very big break. For Nvda, we also look a bit more bullish, favoring basically 188. I think there is more upside potential to fill this gap. And I think that with this inverse head and shoulders, we're looking pretty good. For Aapl, we look pretty good. We're trying to make higher lows. As long as we don't lose 258, we're going to likely consolidate, then start pushing for 265 plus. We look more bullish. AMD is looking more bullish. Nice breakout. It's going to be favoring 255 to 260 very soon. PayPal has a nice inverse potential. So we're talking about this. Could be looking for a big break, especially after earnings for 72 plus. But we'll see, though. Technical analysis is not sufficient. It's not everything. We'll see if we get a big break. Coinbase has a bullish divergence. So long as we don't end up losing 341, we could be looking for an attempt to push for 368. Amazon also has an inverse head and shoulders. As long as we don't lose 222, we're going to be favoring an attempt for 227. Meta looks more bullish, nice accumulation. As long as we don't end up losing 733, we're going to continue to consolidate and eventually push for 750 very soon. Google looks more bullish, favoring 262.5 to 265. Then Microsoft is favoring 527. The majority of tech stocks do look more bullish with earnings approaching. The VIX has a falling wedge, though, so we're going to see if we get an initial bounce as the market come down first before this continues to dump. That could be another very, very big sign. I also want to note that the VIX also has this gap down here around 15.6. So as of right now, the VIX is looking a bit more bearish and the market is looking more bullish. We'll see if we bounce first before we continue to fall on the VIX. And as a result, the market is still once again looking more bullish. So I would recommend just following the trend in front of us. So what do I think is going to happen? I do think that when it comes to the way the market moves, I would like SPY and the QQQ to come down to fill their gaps. That could also contribute to Tesla dipping towards like the 420s again. That would be completely fine, completely normal. But then we're looking for a big bounce near 420 to 425 on Tesla to push right back up towards the 440s. So keep that in mind. With that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a very awesome rest of your guys' days. And I'll be back very soon with another updates for tomorrow, if not by Sunday. So for Tesla, we might dip a bit, but then there's going to likely be a bounce coming based off technical analysis as we're just in this range. But whether we truly get a bounce also depends on this news. We have FOMC once again. We have big tech earnings, and we have President Trump meeting up with Xi Jinping on October 30th. Big, big, big news for next week. Get ready for some high volatility. We're also approaching Tesla's shareholder meeting in November, but that's about 2 weeks away, so we'll wait for that. And we'll take it one step at a time. I thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll be back very soon with another update, either tomorrow or Sunday. Until then, I wish you all nothing but the best, and peace out.